Welcome to a game between therxyy here in red, starting as Shieldbots and a recon commander. And he's going against Maspy, starting with Ampods and an engineer commander. So let's start the game. So in this game, therxyy requested this game because, yeah, he was wondering how to fight this game. And yeah, it's like he was saying he had some trouble against Grizzlies and Stinger as shield bots, and I can understand that as shield bots lacks artillery to be able to deal that easily with Stingers, for example. So yeah, let's see how this plays out. This map has a lot of income that's easily taken and pretty easily defended as well. Uh, like you have to, it's kind of important to know what factory the enemy makes. You can be pretty greedy usually on the. It depends on the start position, but these positions are very defensible. So you can see here that therxyy is going directly for a 3-con start, and he's reclaiming. Like you have some pretty good reclaim here. Like there are several hundred worth of reclaim here that you can just grab at immediately with a con. And then he's also making more energy. You need all that energy to spend all this max income. And it's expanding with 1 con and his commander. So yeah, this you can really be pretty economic in this game. Oh, he almost gets a radar there with the dirtbag. Like the dirtbag can jump up there and it can be annoying, but yeah, a few raiders should easily deal with that. Uh, yeah, but if you're like jump bots, for example, so it's important to know if the enemy's jump bot because then you have to be prepared. Like if pyros come down here, you have to be prepared for that. So because they can jump on top of this little hill. So yeah, and it looks like Maspy is not quite as economic, and you can see here in the early engagement here that ducks and bandits are pretty evenly matched. If a bandit gets in range and stays in range of a duck 1 versus 1, the bandit will win. But if the duck can just lob missiles like this, like 3 ducks can one-shot a bandit, and if like you have a duck and you go in range, you launch a shot and then retreat and stay out of range of the bandits, 1 duck can actually win versus a bandit. So it's a bit micro heavy, like the ones who, if the ducks are able to like volley and then disengage and skirmish like that, the ducks will win. While if the bandits can all get in range at the same time and just kill the ducks, they will win. So yeah, you have to be prepared. Like you have to be more careful. Yeah, you have to be a bit more careful. Like the shield bot player wants to get in range and stay in range, and yeah, they don't want to just move in. Yeah, while the duck player kind of want to like, yeah, if they can skirmish and just move in and out of range of each other, the ducks will win. So yeah. So I think it's a pretty even matchup. Although one thing that the ducks can do is to add in limpets to slow down the bandits. Like if you get a good limpet hit on like all of these bandits, then you can move in and just mop them up with the ducks. Yeah, it's really effective to use limpets. Especially on a big map like this, because yeah, the shield bot player doesn't really have anything good to respond with. So yeah, limpets and ducks can be really strong on this map. And we can see here that therxyy is keeping his cons, his expanding cons on high priority. Maybe all his cons on high priority, that's good. He needs to build energy. And yeah, the energy up here on the hill is decent. It's 0.3 minimum, which can be a bit annoying. But you also have the zero thermal, which will give you a steady income of energy. So he's grabbing that pretty early. So just grabbing, making wins and grabbing that geothermal should give you pretty good steady income. Maspy is also going for some solars here at lower ground where wind isn't as good as the other places. So yeah, I mean building winds here on this expansion, yeah, winds can easily get killed in a raid, while solars are much easier to keep alive and protect with your own raiders. Um, so yeah, you can see here that they're both trying to like outmaneuver each other. Like therxyy has a bit more ducks here, but a bit more bandits. So yeah, if he gets a good engagement here, he should be able to kill them pretty cost effectively. And he could probably have gone in there, but he chose to retreat instead. Meanwhile, this position, like, he can probably reinforce in time before this position falls if he keeps his shield there. But he feels like he can protect his con and retreats it instead of trying to keep his Lotus Tower alive for longer. It depends. If the convict would have stayed there, maybe he would have time to get the bandits there and kill more ducks, and maybe saved the mechs, for example. But he could have lost the con, so yeah. And Maspy, instead of choosing to go for limpets and ducks, he chooses to go for archers. And archers, I mean, they're decent. They're a bit of an upgrade. They're kind of a raid riot bot. Like, they generally lose against other riots, but they're pretty fast. With 70 speed, that's just 20 lower than ducks, for example. So ducks and bandits have the same speed. So yeah, it's a decent choice against bandits, because ducks will win a bit for cost against bandits. Personally, I just prefer to go for limpets, because limpets are even faster. Like, they're even faster than ducks and bandits, so you can move them in position and usually get a pretty good hit off on bandits if they're close enough. Yeah, and he chose to retreat there almost. That wouldn't have been too good. He didn't have enough ducks to follow up. Meanwhile, yeah, you can see the Lotus turret, they're doing decently. Like, one Lotus turret against two archers, and you almost kill archers. Because archers kind of lack DPS, they're not that good. Meanwhile, therxyy is running into that stinger over there. So yeah, the archers are doing so-so. Like, you probably don't want to go for a straight up fight with bandits against archers, but yeah, a few Lotus turrets and archers there, and you're pretty good. So yeah, so Maspy is doing some heavy raiding here with some archers and ducks, while yeah, Therx was running into this stinger. That was a bit poor. Like, he lost a rogue with no need really, and some bandits. So yeah, engaging a stinger has to be done with care. Like, a lone stinger like this is pretty easily overrun by bandits or shut down with rogues. But if you don't have enough, or your rogues are distracted and bandits are distracted with enemy units, yeah, it can be hard to actually get a kill on the stinger, and the stinger will do a lot of damage to your rogues and bandits before you are able to finish it off if there's a lot of distractions nearby. So if we look at the income here, yeah, they were pretty even, like the metal produced, but now with that raiding, Maspy is getting a bit ahead, and metal use, yeah, a bit ahead, but not too much. Meanwhile, yeah, this is thing, like, yeah, rogues are pretty good in this situation. Like, they can kill Lotus turrets for free, basically, because they outrange Lotus turrets. And pickets, yeah, they're not that good against rogues. Like, you need to, like a picket need two volleys to kill a rogue. So yeah, a rogue can basically kill a picket for costs, and yeah, they basically pickets. If rogues are let free, they can easily counter pickets for cost, and stingers, probably not for cost, but yeah, you can easily overwhelm it and only lose like 2-3 rogues if there's no distractions nearby. But there's a lot of ducks here to distract, so rogues are gonna keep busy firing at the ducks. And if the ducks just move in to kill the stinger, yeah, the ducks can counter charge and probably get in range of the rogues without taking damage. So yeah, you want to have some distraction with your light defenses. If against a rogue bandit combo, you need to have some distractions against there. Looks like a limpet went down, but it didn't seem to catch many units. Like, that's a bit of a micro battle. Like, you want to avoid getting all your bandits stuck, and maybe you can send forward 1 or 2 bandits to kill the limpet initially, and then you can retreat. And then you can send in the rest of the bandits when the limpets are gone. So, because yeah, if the limpets hit a lot of bandits, yeah, the ducks are gonna get the upper hand in even engagements. Meanwhile, therxyy is trying to tower creep the commander here. Looks like he killed a Lotus turret there. You have, like, you can, even though you have a convict shield, like convict shields are really good for turret creeping, but a single convict against a one commander, yeah, that's not enough. However, if you have two convicts, that's generally enough to like turret creep the commander. Like two convicts, they can't quite match the build power of a commander, but they have the shield. So if you build pickets, you can build pickets or lotus turrets inside the shield and turret creep that way. And if the enemy doesn't have like, yeah, it's really hard for the other side to counter it. Oh, and it looks like Maspy went for geothermal. Will therxyy have enough? Yeah, he will have enough DPS to take that down. Oh, that's pretty decent trade, probably. I mean, he made quite a lot. He made a gunship switch here. And on this map, yeah, I'm not sure about a gunship switch on this map because it's so open that players tend to mostly just spam raiders, and raiders can respond pretty quickly to gunships. So if we look at like the total value graph here, yeah, you can see that the value kill, yeah, okay, the value lost in that explosion. Uh, yeah, you can see that therxyy, yeah, it was pretty even basically. Getting that thing blowing up, he probably paid like 2,000 metal of gunships to get that, and he killed, yeah, about the same value. So it was a decent exchange, but it's not world game ending. Yeah. So making use of gunships on this map is pretty hard, I say, because if you look around the map, there's defense here, there's defense here. You can go for enemy base, but there will probably be raiders coming right out, and raiders are decent against banshees. So it's hard to do anything meaningful with banshees on this map, unless them enemies, I don't know, switch to something else than raiders and don't have a lot of load turret. Meanwhile, this commander looks like it's gonna go down. Oh, it's almost going down. Would it have been worth it to sacrifice all these rogues to kill the commander? The commander could also have dodged, so it would have been risky to just move forward and try to kill the commander. Meanwhile, they're getting cornered against the side here. That's kind of bad. You probably want to pay a bit of attention and try to retreat them. Yeah, like, they shouldn't be pushed against the wall or the side of the map like this, because rogues aren't that good at killing ducks. So yeah, you should probably have paid a bit more attention there and retreated. Meanwhile, the enemy has made a grizzly and you're trying to counter it with gnuts. I mean, that's might be a decent choice, but it also requires that the enemy is overcommitting with the grizzly, that they go too far away from the other units, that they don't have enough units to protect the grizzly and so on. So how do you counter grizzly in a situation like this? Blast wings are pretty good against bunched up ducks like this. That's gonna do a little bit of damage and force them to retreat. Like, going against the fire like this, yeah, that's not easy to do. So yeah, here comes the choice. Like, a grizzly, you can kind of just, if you have enough rogues, you can kind of just drive it back and just kill the enemy, because yeah, the grizzly will take a long time to pay off against rogues. It basically needs, how many rogues does it need to kill? It needs to kill like all of these rogues. How many? It's like it needs to kill like 16 rogues before it makes cost, or even like 17. So that's a lot of like rogues that the grizzly needs to kill. And if the rogues are allowed to do damage to, like, they can easily break through stingers and defenses. But on the other hand, if the enemy has just had some ducks to distract, and maybe some limpets to prevent the ducks from being overrun by bandits. Oh, this is a sneaky move by Maspy. But he's trying to fire on top of the hill from below, since the missiles of the ducks arc, yeah, that they can actually do that. Yeah. Sneaky move by Maspy there, trying to get the geothermal from the low gun. Yeah, so in a situation like this, Yeah, it's a choice. Like, do you stay on the other bandit rogue and try to out damage and out mass the enemy, or do you have to go for something else? And in this situation, it looks like therxyy is falling behind a bit, both economically at this point and yeah. And it looks like, yeah, like you have, if you're gonna counter it, the Grizzly Gnats, yeah, you have to basically not, yeah, this is too many raiders. They're gonna stop the Gnats from like doing that. So yeah, Maspy is playing pretty well, although now he's diving pretty deep. So yeah, in these situations, you probably want to have a bit more bandits ready to overrun the grizzly and kill the ducks. And since there's no limpets here and it's this far out of position, yeah, it's gonna be hard to save the grizzly. But now it's probably too late. Like, yeah. Like, you lost so much expansion that I don't know how you're gonna get back into this game. And you get the stun off because there's not many ducks here, so you're probably gonna kill that now. Like, even the rogues are gonna be able to kill that grizzly now. And you get a grizzly, so that's kind of a little bit of comeback. Yeah. So yeah, but at this point, yeah, you lost too much momentum. What's the critical deal here? It's hard to say when. I guess you chose to make a Dante, but I think that was even like. I don't think a Dante is a good choice against I mean, against Amphots, because a Dante is basically countered by a Grizzly. Like, if there's no way to close the distance to a Dante, the Grizzly can just keep damaging it, and you have to retreat the Dante behind your rogues and bandits, and yeah, it's not that good. One counter that you can consider is to make Racketeers. Like, if you have two Racketeers, they can keep the Grizzly stunned. On one hand, it takes a bit of attention, like, you don't want to lose the Racketeers. Like, two Racketeers, that's almost 700 metal. So it's a bit of an investment. But if you see the Grizzly, or see the enemies making Grizzly, it can be a decent choice to have Racketeers. And on an open map like this, it's pretty easy to just shadow the Grizzly wherever it goes. Like, the Grizzly can't really escape the Racketeers. You can always have them on the front line where the Grizzly is. Then it's a matter of, like, if you have two Racketeers, it will take them a while to disarm the Grizzly. So, and you also need to make sure that you have radar coverage along all the front, because if you don't have radar coverage, once the Grizzly, if the Grizzly will only be in range and be spotted and targeted by the Racketeers if it is in range. So it's a thing that you can consider on an open map like this, is to just have radars on the front line to make sure that your Racketeer is staying in radar view. And then your two Racketeers should be enough if you just pay attention to the Racketeers. It's easy to lose, like, attention, and then the Racketeers just goes in and dies against ducks and stuff like that. But if you have the attention, yeah, it's a pretty good idea to make Racketeers to counter Grizzly on a map like this. But yeah, if the enemy is like going in and out of range, you're gonna lose some units every time. The Grizzly goes out of range and then come back in again, and it's gonna shoot a few shots and do some damage. So yeah. Yeah. So yeah, it can be hard to manage. Like, it might be easy to just try to force the Grizzly back with bandits and rogues, because if you have a lot of bandits and rogues, you can just kill light defenses and push on and damage the Grizzly and force it back, and the enemy has to reinforce, and it takes a lot of time before it takes a long time before the Grizzly actually pays off against rogues and bandits. So yeah. On the other hand, the enemy had a lot of stingers, so yeah, could have been hard to like break a position like this when the Grizzly is here, because you're gonna take so much damage going against these before you kill the stingers, and yeah, it could be hard to engage a position like this with just rogues and bandits against grizzlies. So, on the other hand, if you have racketeers, then you can stun the grizzly, and you can also stun the frontline stingers. Like maybe if you have like 3, like for example, if you're engaging against a grizzly and there's stingers here, yeah, you pay like 3. Yeah, if you have like 3 racketeers, you keep 2 racketeers that stuns the grizzly, and then the what do you call it? And then the one to sting the frontline stinger, and you can kill the frontline stinger easily once it's disarmed with the rogues. And if you can keep and if the duck numbers aren't going too high, you can kill the enemy ducks with bandits, and they're gonna take a few shots from rogues as well. So yeah, I can't really. It's something you could try, but you probably need to practice it to actually be able to do it. So you can see here that you're pulling back in attrition value, and it looks like the enemy's making a stinger, a missile silo to try and finish the game. And in Maspy's position, this is a pretty decent choice. Like you can see here the total value. Your Dante was doing a lot of damage against this position, just killing a lot of stuff. So yeah, your Dante has been doing good so far. And this first missile wasn't that good. And then it looks like Maspy is gonna accidentally fire at this position again, which means he's not gonna kill much. He's gonna kill the shield off plate and the caretaker. So yeah, this was pretty much a waste. And you could probably get the commander here. Yeah, you should get the commander here. So this was a pretty big loss actually from Maspy. It almost looks like you can get back into the game. I don't think Maspy did a good choice here. Like, instead of going for more grizzlies to counter the Dante, he went for boys. And boys, defensively, they can work against the Dante, because if the Dante gets slowed, yeah, the boys can finish off the Dante. But if you just keep your Dante healthy, and you keep if you keep your Dante healthy and watch out so it doesn't get too much slowed, yeah, the Dante can easily counter the boys in the long term. It can send off the missiles. Like if you look at the range here, the napalm the napalm rockets has like the same range as the boys. Yeah, even a bit more even, and it can send off napalm salvos to burn the boys. And the boys are simply gonna burn to death against the napalm rockets and napalm salvo. Yeah, you can easily counter boys long term with a Dante. You just want to make sure you don't get too stunned. And rogues also counter boys. So if you have boys, for example, if you go just for a bandit rogue combo with the Dante, you're easily gonna counter this boys. Like the Dante counters them, and if it gets damaged or too slowed, you can retreat behind the rogues. And if the boys try to chase the Dante when it's slowed, yeah, they're gonna take a lot of damage from the rogues. If the enemy doesn't have enough limpets and archers and ducks, you can run in with the bandits. So yeah, this is a really bad combo for the situation by Maspy. He's really, like, if he just has one grizzly and he can just keep shadowing the grizzly. Like, if he has a grizzly here and the boy's taking damage from rogues, he can just keep like this is just a Dante killing off 2,000 value of boys, just burning them slowly with his rockets. Yeah. So yeah, if you just have a grizzly shadowing the Dante, the grizzly can fire at rogues and bandits and keep doing attrition. And as soon as the Dante come in range, yeah, you can just deal some damage to it. And if you have like bandits and such things near the grizzly, yeah, they're gonna probably take damage from the napalm salvo. But if it's just a grizzly, the grizzly doesn't. Yeah, it burns, but it doesn't. Burn damage isn't that quick. It's easy to just keep the grizzly at the front line, repair it when it takes some napalm damage, and yeah, the grizzly can't. If the grizzly tries to chase the grizzly can just kite the Dante. Like if you look at the speed difference between a a Dante and a Grizzly. Um, the Grizzly is yeah 45 speed versus 54. Yeah, the Grizzly can counter the like keep kiting the Dante for a long time, and yeah, the Grizzly has a lot longer range, and the Dante only does very little damage at range with its heat ray. The heat rays are pretty useless at range, so yeah. So the thing that keeps you in this game is that Maspy goes for this unit combo. Like this unit combo is pretty bad. Yeah. So, what's next? Yeah, this Dante is pretty bad. I mean, this Dante is pretty good against the unit combo that Maspy is using, and that's what's keeping in the game. If you look here at like metal produced, the enemy's far ahead. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah, metal overdrive. It's actually pretty even. I guess, yeah, Maspy didn't really rebuild his energy after that. You killed his Moho. And this is a decent choice, like thugs and rogues against stingers. You should be able to break through these stingers pretty well. If you look at the value killed, yeah, you're really getting ahead in value killed. That's what's keeping you in the game. Yeah, and I was actually watching this replay before. So Maspy managed to get the geothermal from the low ground. That's pretty sneaky. Yeah. Meanwhile, this Dante, you probably want to have like 2 cons, always repairing the Dante if you can, if you have the spare cons. Allow you to have a lot of rebuild and a lot of reclaim. Yeah, and this army should do pretty well against the shield bots. Like if you just keep your Felon alive and you keep your shields decently healthy, so you don't take damage. The rogues can counter the boys, and you can like kind of push in against pretty heavy defense. Oh, and here it looks like the Dante has a tendency to like friendly fire units that are close by, like these rogues. So that's a bit annoying when using the Dante, is that it can easily burn its own units with its both. It's like it automatically fires rockets with napalm rockets, and it also has a like flamethrower that can easily hit friendly units, which is pretty annoying. So it looks like you lost those rogues, mostly due to friendly fire from the Dante. So that's a thing to keep in mind. And Dante against stingers, it's like a Dante can start burning lone stingers and kill them, or go in and kill them one by one. Like if you have a fully healthy Dante, if you go something like this, and then this, you can probably kill these 3 stingers in one go if you have full health. But yeah, if there's like if there's an army here to like herd, like prevent the Dante from going its own way, yeah, it's gonna take a long time for the Dante to go in, take some damage from the units nearby the stinger and kill one stinger and then retreat. So I usually don't recommend killing defenses with the Dante, but because it's gonna take a lot of damage, you're usually better off keeping the Dante healthy if you don't have enough power to repair it. If you don't have enough build power to repair it quickly, and then you just use napalm rocket salvos against light units and light defenses. But yeah, you can see this Dante, would it have been able to push in here? Probably not. Like there were a few boys that would have slowed it and killed it probably. But if it was fully healthy on the other hand, like when you started this engagement and had been repairing it, maybe you could have surprised Maspy and actually took out his base. Would have been pretty funny. So yeah, you could retreat the Dante in this position and try to repair it and stay in this game, but I mean, if the enemy is just like this, shield ball could be advancing. Like Maspy has done a poor choice of how to counter your Dante. And also, yeah, not really countering your shield balls. So, yeah, if you look at the army value there and then, you were actually still even, although your Dante was really low. So, if you would have been forced to retreat the Dante all the way around and then repair it, yeah, that's gonna take forever. That's basically more than half your army value that's not being used for anything. So, yeah, you were pretty far behind. Yeah, usually I would say that Dante is a wrong choice against Amphibots, but in this choice, when the enemy was sending boys at it, it was the right choice. So take that for what you will. Yeah, I'd say like if you look at the total value, this was when you killed the Moho, which was kind of worth it. You could see from the graph here, and but the enemy was getting ahead in expansion. They were raining you a bit down here. Like that's a thing. Like if the enemy comes with an archer combo, like an archer and duck combo, and you don't have the bandage and defenses to match that, it can be a bit difficult to counter for the shield bots. Like some things you can consider is placing a few roaches here and there, and hope that the enemy runs into the roaches and loses a lot of ducks into your roaches, and maybe even a few archers, and that's pretty good. Uh, and then the question is when the enemy gets a grizzly out. When was the enemy get a? Can you see that total value? I think you should be able to see this. Yeah, that should be the grizzly that was made. Like the enemy was making all the defense and stingers and stuff, and rogues are decent at breaking that. Or you could go for a shield ball. It's a bit tricky. Like even thugs, if you have a lot of thugs and a felon, for example, or just thugs and rogues, if the thugs lead the charge against the stingers and the grizzly and have shields, you can easily kill the stinger. You go in with the thugs first, force the grizzly back and the other units back, and then the rogues can kind of probably pick off the stinger. Maybe you lose a few, like one or two rogues, and you pick off the stinger and force the ducks and grizzlies back. Yeah, it depends a lot on what you do. Uh, or you can make racketeers to try and to disarm the frontline stingers and grizzly. But it's also easy to like just lose the racketeers and they're just going back and forth in their own and they're just disarming ducks and not the grizzly, and the grizzly keeps killing your rogues. So it's hard to say if you should go for racketeer. I would recommend some practice with first to like be comfortable using it, because it requires a lot of attention to be used effectively. And once the enemy starts to get like 2, 3, 4 grizzlies, yeah, it gets hard to keep them all disarmed. And maybe they add a cloak field and you can't see them on radar, and they're gonna keep firing and firing and firing in that situation when there's a cloak field near them, and then you Racketeers don't really cut it. So yeah, the Dante worked out for you, but I don't think it would have if there was just grizzlies out on the field shadowing it and just damaging it as soon as it got in range. So yeah, the Gnats against grizzlies. I mean, if the enemy overcommits, goes out of the defense, don't have enough things to protect the grizzly, yeah, it's a good idea. Like if you look here at the game, you were quite far behind, but it's almost like Maspy let you get back into the game due to the Dante doing so much damage. Yeah, if you look at the value kill here, you can see the army value, yeah, around here, and then the value kill started going up and up and up after that. Maspy wasn't responding well to that Dante. So gunships kind of paid off, but after that, it's hard to do anything with them. This front line is so dynamic, and there would be defense everywhere. There would be raiders everywhere. Making an AA makes this position. You can't really make cost against anything in this area. going getting the base, except the moho. That's hard. It's gonna be raiders everywhere, and yeah, it's hard to make gunships work on this map. Maybe Nimbus. Nimbus is kind of countered easily by anglers, I think, though, or just some AA near the front line. Yeah, I would probably recommend air. Like you can start bombing stingers and stuff, bombing commander. Maybe air is better, or maybe if napalm bombing all their front raiders in groups and stuff like that. So probably air is probably a better choice. Or you can make a thunderbird and stun the bandits and run in with your. I mean, stun the ducks with the thunderbird, and then you run in with your bandits and kill the grizzly, for example. That's pretty good as well. So on the other hand, if you have a lot of shields, only thugs, and not enough felons to kill the enemy thunderbirds, the enemy might thunderbird you and leave all your shield balls to, like, yeah, easily killed by ducks, and break your assault in a stinger position like this. Yeah, breaking a stinger position like this against a grizzly, yeah, you need to be like considerate so you don't just lose your units. So yeah, those are my tips for you. Be a bit more careful to lose like expansion. Like try to make sure you're not being broken by limpets and limpets, ducks, and archers. Maybe one more turret or so. Yeah, if you can't really follow the enemy, maybe have a roach in defense. Yeah, maybe. But then you're really strong in the face, where you can just push out on the map with just pure bandit and rogue. An enemy is gonna struggle to counter it. They have to rely on limpets and what do you call it, limpets and ducks to actually counter your rogues and bandits. And if you just have some, then you can start to kind of tower defense creep against enemy defenses, and then you have some defenses to retreat through. Then the ducks and limpets can't really counter that, and then you can start pushing. And if the game is even, you should be pretty far ahead. Uh, you can, I mean, you can. A grizzly will take a long time to pay off. So yeah. Anyway, that's my analysis. Good luck and have fun.